Do you dream of exploring the enchanted land of Morocco? Discover the magic with Destination Morocco, the ultimate travel experience for those seeking luxury and adventure. We specialize in crafting bespoke itineraries tailored to your unique tastes and desires. If you are a discerning traveler who values an immersive, curated adventure, then visit destinationsmorocco.com. That's destinations with an S, morocco.com. And let us bring your dream Moroccan vacation to life. Welcome back to another incredible episode of Destination Morocco podcast. And in this episode, we have a special guest as always. It's always amazing to have you, Ted, the producer, with us. And in today's episode, we're going to be discussing who is interested in Morocco and why. So, Ted, welcome back to the show.
Thanks very much. Welcome. Yeah, it's always fun to be here. And this episode, this question, I guess, I was thinking about it a little while ago. What makes people interested in any place, I suppose, in general, but in Morocco specifically? I mean, we talk about a lot in this show. You've brought up how it's a different place. It's not... Every country's distinct for sure, but Morocco kind of stands out, just by nature of what it is. It's in Africa, but it's so close to Europe. It has all these different influences and a real mix of cultures and religion and background and all that, and languages and on and on. And there's, I don't know if there's other countries that really have that exact same mix, and that makes it distinct. And so it got me thinking, well, are people aware of that? What gets them interested in Morocco in the first place? What are their kind of perceptions, maybe assumptions about it? Things you hear about perhaps in the media, culture, movies, things like that. And that presents an opportunity for you to talk about kind of some of the questions that you've heard over the years, just people you've talked to, so your clients for sure. What their maybe initial impressions or thoughts about Morocco were, and then maybe how that changed and evolved, of course, once they actually went and, experienced it for themselves. So really, that's it. In your experience, what makes Morocco appealing? What kind of questions do you get?
Well, what makes Morocco appealing is definitely, besides the location, is the people, the Moroccan people. The location is incredible because it's in Africa, so there's a lot of African influence. Then there's North Africa, which Arab-speaking countries. Then there's Middle East, obviously the connection, and then there's Europe. So it's a combination. It's very unique, the combination that Morocco has, and that's what really creates that appeal. And you can see that appeal in the European side or European countries or visitors and tourists versus the others, especially if we're talking North America, USA, for example, Canada, and stuff like that. And probably that has to do with maybe the distance. And Morocco is not as popular, obviously, for many reasons, and rightfully so, in North America versus Europe, because it's just too far. And people now are discovering it, in the recent years, especially the last couple of years.
Yeah. So you've really seen that change in the recent, couple of years.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And it's really started with the World Cup, obviously, then the Men's World Cup, then the Women's World Cup, then Morocco hosting the World Cup, then another soccer event in 2029 and another soccer event in 2025. So it got a lot of attention. Then, unfortunately, with the earthquake, it made people ask a lot of questions. Morocco, where is Morocco? People did not know that Morocco is in Africa, and many other questions. So, but there's definitely change in the perception, how people see Morocco, for sure.
Do you find when you meet people ask you questions, are they very familiar with Morocco? Like, are they like, I don't know anything about it, or do they kind of have some idea?
It really depends. For people that travel, they have an idea. For people that don't really travel, they have no clue Morocco is. They always confuse it with Monaco. It's like, and I say I'm from Morocco. It's like, what are you doing here? They think I came from Monaco. It's like, no, I came from Africa, not that part of, So,
yeah. Interesting.
I remember when I first came to the US. This is back in '95. I used to work at a Mexican restaurant. So, just a busboy, and and to a waiter, and I remember people asking, because everybody's from Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela, Salvador,
Mm.
and say, "Hey, where are you from?" Because I look a little different,
Hmm.
and I say Moroccans, like, okay, say Marruecos. Oh, Marruecos. They say, okay, can you do the dance? And it's like, what dance? Because they look at the African dance that I think Africa is one country. So no, no,
Mm.
we don't do that dance in Morocco. We have our own dances. So it's just funny
Hmm.
how people, randomly, and again, this was, almost 30 years ago. And I say, somebody will ask me and say, Moroccan's like, oh, yeah. Oh, I know where it is. Then I said, yeah, where is it? They say, it's next to India. So people really, a lot of people don't know. They just don't know. So that's
Yeah.
what make travel really, really important in our lives.
Hmm.
I mean, it changes you. It makes you a better person. It makes you connect better with other, cultures and other people. So I remember
Hmm.
those questions very vividly. Even now, a lot of people are familiar because of the travel, because of the media, because of the TV, and all the
Mm.
movies that they have been made in Morocco. But there's still a little bit of perception, a little bit of expectation of what Morocco is versus what they have in their minds.
Mm. Well, then that's a good question because I mean, I suppose those expectations or perceptions will only ever change once you go, once you actually experience it in person. So, do you have any stories or anything that comes to mind of maybe clients in your tours and they came back home, presumably the United States, and yeah, they said, well, it wasn't what I expected, or it was a lot different, or just, do you remember any of those kind of anecdotes of how
Yeah,
people
there's actually
changed?
a lot of those stories, but the one that really stands out, and I've spoken about it quite a few times, is Max. People when
Hmm.
they travel to Morocco, they ask a lot of the good questions. They ask the right questions, and it's always out of respect before they want to go to Morocco. They don't want to offend anyone. They don't want to be culturally wrong with a lot of
Yeah.
things. So they ask what to wear, what to pack, what to do, and how to act and stuff like that. So that what to wear always comes up. So
Mm.
when Max went to Morocco and she had somebody pick her up from the airport, and the girl that picked her up from the airport was wearing a very, very short skirt, and she was shocked. She was like, and that was her first impression of Morocco. It was like, oh my God, I would not let my daughter wear that stuff.
Yeah. I remember
And this
that.
lady, in Morocco, in Africa, is coming to pick me up from the airport.
Mm.
So, Morocco is a very open country, and it's good that a lot of people ask those questions because they
Yeah.
really care, and it's really, really important to care. So when you go, um, you know a lot of the perceptions they change after you experience Morocco, for sure.
Yeah. Hmm. Do you think is that a combination of things? It's the people, but it's also the landscape. It's the influence of all of those different things. Because when you're out there in the desert, it's amazing. It's
uh,
so stunning, and it's something you never forget.
uh,
But there's the people too. There's the music and the culture, and just again, if you, for people who've traveled, they've been to other countries and well, developing countries are just places where you're used to that bustle of people and there's noise and there's maybe pollution and there's motorbikes and all that kind of stuff. But in Morocco, I mean, you have that, but it's different kind of feel. Maybe it's a little more. I don't know. It's a little more distinct, I suppose, to Morocco
yes,
itself.
yes. I would say it's a combination of everything that you have said, because the landscape changes every 45
Yeah.
minutes. You have a different landscape, so to a lot of people that's really a surprise. But for the people that live in Morocco, they can't see the difference. It's just normal to
Mm.
them, obviously. um, then the other thing is, it's the people. The way they treat you, the way they talk to you, the way that they welcome you into their houses, their villages, whatever it is. You're on the north side, the south side. Then the beauty of the mountains, you have, the big Atlas Mountains, the anti-Atlas Mountains. In the north side, you have the Rif Mountains, and the Rif Mountains are completely different.
Mm.
They don't
Yeah,
even
that's true.
look like they fit in Morocco. I mean, it's just incredible. Then the culture, different cultures. I mean, it's Morocco, but it's extremely diverse. The people in the north, then the people in the south, the
Mm.
languages they speak, the dialect that they speak. It's just beautiful. Then the other thing is a lot of people, they don't think Morocco is as big as it is because
Hmm.
of the map. So when they start driving, whether in the north side or the south side, I was like, I did not think Morocco is this big. So what do you see? The map that you see on the globe, it's incorrect. So Morocco
Hmm.
is pretty big. There's quite a bit of driving distance from city to city, most of them.
Yeah.
But also, again, there's so much stuff to see along the way, you know.
Hmm.
So
And it's worth pointing out, people may not or may have their assumptions, but there's expressways. I mean, it's not just
yes,
all winding
yes,
roads.
yeah,
You can absolutely, usually when you drive from Fez to Marrakesh, you're going down past Rabat, Casablanca. It's all
yeah,
expressway. So,
yes,
you can go fast. You can certainly take the other way around, which a lot of your tours do, which is more scenic in the smaller
yes,
villages and the valleys and
yes,
gorges, which is great. It takes a lot longer. But
yes,
I mean, it comes back to these perceptions. Does Morocco have that kind of infrastructure? And of
yes.
course it does.
Yeah, just to add a little bit to what you have said, I totally agree. And also, when you look at, for example, from a fast to Marrakesh, you're looking at, for example, 6 hours in the highway.
Hmm.
Obviously, there's stops for sure, but then the other route that you can take, which you have mentioned, which is they call it the national route, the roads, which is just it takes about 9 hours, not 9 days,
Yeah.
9 hours, and it's very scenic, and
Mm.
it takes a long time for many reasons. And again, there's so many stops along the way, and you really really enjoy it. So for people who don't have the issue of time, they can do that. They can take that,
Yeah.
through the Atlas Mountains, yes, and enjoy the view because it's beautiful, beautiful.
Yep. That reminds me of a question too. Then, I mean, how how much is there to do in Morocco? What kind of activities, and how much time does it take? Is it one of these places where people can expect to be able to do all those things? I suppose in a standard kind of 10 days, maybe 2 weeks at the most, or do you really have to choose because there's a lot to do?
You really have to choose, and you brought up a good point: 7 days to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So if it's 7 days, you can't really see the whole country. There's so much stuff to see, and we get this quite a bit. We have, somebody. I have 5 days. I want to see the desert for sure. I want to see Shifsha when I want to see this,
Mm.
and you can't really do it. Um,
Yeah. It's a lot
you
of
can
driving.
drive. You drive. You get to the location. Then 15 minutes later, gotta go back.
Yeah.
So I always split it into 7 days minimum, and you can do the north side, or you can do the south side.
Mm.
If you have 10 days, then you can do definitely a combination of both, because if you don't have enough time, don't squeeze too much stuff in that little time that you have. Come back
Hmm.
next time, um, and do the rest of it. Because Morocco, it's very seldomly that you're gonna see everything you wanted to see in one trip, unless you have an average of 12 days, for example, to two
Yeah.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that when people, I suppose, start the process, reach out to you, they have an idea already, usually, of what they want to see and where they want to go, or are they asking you for ideas?
I would say now they really know because of the podcast, and because they
Yeah.
have listened to quite few episodes, so they know exactly what they want to do. They know exactly what they want to see, and they have their homework. So they pick out everything from the activities to the type of riads they want to stay, from
Mm.
the cities they want to visit, for how long they want to stay in each city, which makes it really easy for us.
Hmm.
Then we still have a small percentage. They just want you to book everything for them, which is incredible as well. So we make recommendations, we make suggestions, and that's how we really do it.
Hmm. Is there a typical demographic who books your tours, who's interested in going to Morocco really in general? Is it kind of a thing for all ages, or do you find it's a certain type of person? Yeah.
It's very different, and I'm glad you asked this question, because a few weeks ago I was trying to, to work on some stuff for us internally to understand and build a personal brand. So we do
Mm.
see, for example, I have the notes here in front of me, the client persona, and I have them actually by names, the guests that we had in the past. For example, I call it adventurous Rachel. For anybody
Yeah.
who's in their 30s and 40s, they're solo, very passionate. They want to immerse themselves in the local experience. Then we have, for
Mm.
example, family focused, like Roxanne. She's from Canada, and the age group is between 45 to 55 years old, and they have teenager kids, adult kids, and they just want to have that family bond with the kids.
Yeah.
Then we have the luxury seeking. I call it luxury seeking Lauren, which she was in Morocco last month with us, and basically they just want everything to be taken care of and catered to them. They want top notch. So
Mm.
um, that's what we call it, luxury seeking Lauren. Then we have the history buff, and we named it
Mm.
the history buff Ray because it was Ray and his wife Sharon, and they're between 50s and 60s. They're retired. They love exploring the historical sites of Morocco and such. So we don't really serve just one type of audience. Then also we have the honeymooners, and we have Tessa. Actually, Tessa, she's leaving the US today, and she's gonna get to
Oh
Morocco
yeah.
tomorrow.
Wow.
And we call it honeymooners. They are a young couple celebrating the love, and we're planning an incredible Morocco itinerary for them, and full of surprises. So I don't want to give away a lot of information because she might be listening.
We'll hear about it
So,
later.
but yeah, for sure, yes. And really, that's the type of audience that we have. We don't have one size fits all, but everything we do is really customizable. Everything we do is to the guests in their terms, basically. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So,
But do you find, like, at least the people that reach out to you, that you talk with, like, are they looking for something a little different that's not the cookie cutter type thing? That's probably why they come to you in the first
oh,
place, right? But
100%.
maybe they want the cultural stuff. Maybe they want to have more time to explore or whatever. And they're not interested in the big group tours and things like
When you go with us, these are the things that you see. It's like you said, it's not a cookie cutter. It's very
that. Yeah.
different. So I'll give you an example. When Sesha went with us, she wanted specifically to spend more time in the desert,
Mm.
and she had an life changing experience. This is exactly how she put it. We loved having her. It was amazing, amazing, building her itinerary.
Mm.
So we were very lucky to have her in the camp when we had her with Saeed, which we did an episode with, and he just went
Mm.
above and beyond. Everybody that she came in contact with was just amazing. She did Merzuga better than we did it.
Hmm.
The funny thing, we used to have the website a long time ago, and we had some, I would say, about 23 different itineraries
Oh, yeah.
that people can just choose from and say, this is what I want, and that's it.
Hmm.
But now, I mean, we have new itineraries on the website. We have eight. We have eight tours on the new
Yeah.
website. But now, nobody has ever said, that's what I want. So everything we really do when it comes to private tours is built from scratch,
Hmm.
and it's 100% customizable. So we have done hundreds and hundreds of itineraries, and I promise you, Ted, there's not one itinerary that it's a copy paste of the other one. Everything
Hmm.
is unique. Everything
Yeah.
is unique. Yeah. So
Interesting.
yeah.
And how much does it change on the fly? Like, I was thinking about this too because I was looking at your tours. Like, there's the 8 standard tours, and there's
Yes.
itineraries kind of sketched out. But even then, like, how much can still change in the moment, the day before, and someone says, "Well, I'd rather do this," or "That's been changed." Like, can you have that kind of flexibility?
Yes. And I say yes because we do. Uh, Again, because we have to be flexible. We don't have a choice but to be flexible. But also want to
Hmm.
mention, sometimes being flexible really costs us a little bit of money, but we
Hmm.
don't pass any of that cost to the client. And we never mention
Hmm.
it. We never talk about it. So, and we've been in this situation many times, but I don't want, like, we don't, penny pinch clients.
Yeah.
We're not gonna add this to them or charge them extra. No, whatever the cost, we just take care of it behind the seat, and we don't even mention it. They said, I want to cancel this, I don't want to do this, and it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Because again,
Hmm.
everything is done on their terms, not ours.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Are there any? You've built so many of these itineraries now over the years. Like, are there any? Are there any that stand out? And anyone who's listening has done this, travel planning and just for yourself. And it's like sometimes you've got to put all these pieces together, and maybe it's transport and getting from here to there, and when things open and close. Like, can you think of any moments that stood out where you were able to just really get something really nice and tight, and it all came together? And then the guests, of course, had a great time. And like, can you remember some moments like that?
Oh, so many, so many, so many. That I can think of. Chantal's case when her daughter she had an emergency and she had to go to the dentist,
Hmm.
and that's when she really realized um, the things that we do behind the scene, all the type of work that goes behind the scene, and the clients don't get to see it. Then we had, sometimes we have medical emergencies, and that changes literally everything. So we have to cater to the client and make sure that everything is done, taken care of, and again accommodate them. So there's really a lot of the stories. So
Here's something I was wondering. Like, is there a difference? Have you found there's a difference between Europeans and Americans when it comes to Morocco, their perception of it, getting there, the notion of traveling, because it's obviously so much closer for
yes,
them, Europeans. So, do you really see that there's different questions, different demands? Maybe people can do different things because they're that much closer. They could come back, next year or something. It's that much easier.
yes. Oh, definitely. I would say the Europeans comparing to United States, they're probably about 30 years ahead of the United States in terms of
As far as
traveling to
travel to
Morocco.
Morocco? Yeah.
Yes, yes. Because I remember even as a kid, as a teenager, especially when we go to the mountains, I see a lot of Europeans, French,
Hmm.
and I would say the Germans. The Germans are very different when it comes to their travel. They're the best backpackers. It's funny because the last tour that we did back in the summer, I went to the mountains, so I was with my father, uh,
Hmm.
and then obviously because we have a gate, and I opened the gate, and there's just in front of the house, there's a couple camping in front of the
Yeah.
house. It was just funny, and I laughed so hard. But it's very comforting because they feel very safe. I know we talked about safety
Yeah.
an episode or two ago,
Yeah.
and it's very, very, like I said, very comforting. Again, I met a German couple. This is back in 2012. I was in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the mountains, um, and I saw these two bikers, just passing by. I seen them from distance. They got closer and closer to me, and then
Hmm.
they approached me and they said hi, and I said hello. I
Mhm.
was so surprised that they spoke English, and we talked maybe for 30 seconds or so,
Hmm.
and they were Germans. They love Morocco, and they were biking, bicycles.
Okay.
So yeah, just backpacking. The
Mhm.
Europeans, they know how to travel to Morocco definitely better.
Hmm.
When it comes to backpacking, they're a lot more. They do more solo travel than organized travel, whether it's group or private
Hmm.
tours. So
Yeah.
the US is just getting to figure out Morocco, to know Morocco, because unfortunately, because of the distance, and then
Hmm.
because of the other destinations that are closer to the US. I'm talking specifically to Mexico. Travel agents or a lot of people, they rather go to Mexico or Caribbeans versus venturing out all the way to Africa.
Hmm.
So yeah.
And that's for the travel agents. I suppose that's what they know a lot more. They're much closer. That's what they sell. They're probably not as familiar with Morocco.
Yeah, the travel agent for me, they're missing out on a lot of money.
Hmm.
We all understand they work on commission, but the commission that they can make on, for example, trip to Morocco is, they would make the same commission booking five trips to Mexico or cruise and stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
but they don't know that, and I think in terms of this is not in general, but I say most of a lot of travel agents, they have their own niche that they specialize in, whether
Yeah.
it's ocean cruise, river cruise, luxury groups, honeymoon, weddings, and stuff like that. But I wish they could include Africa as well. There's so many things to see in Africa. It's just a beautiful
Mm.
continent, and Morocco is just incredible and amazing destination. So
Yeah. I was wondering, especially when we were there, but like how much is African identity part of Moroccans, native Moroccans, of course? Like, do they feel African as much as anything?
oh, for sure, 100%. This
Okay.
is something it's really difficult to explain, but we are beyond proud Africans. Um,
Huh.
there's something that connects us. We bond together. It's beyond belief. This is
Hmm.
you. I don't think people feel it in the US, and it's expected. It's perfectly fine. But there's all African countries. Anywhere I go, anywhere I travel, whether using any type of transportation or public transportation or meeting at a convention. Once somebody you talk to them, where are you from? Senegal. Where are you
Hmm.
from? South Africa. Where are you from? Morocco. There's instant bond. There's an
Hmm.
instant bond, instant trust. So it's beautiful. It really really is beautiful.
Right. And what if we talk about this idea of Morocco as a bucket list country? I
Uh,
know you've bring that up from time to time, and I find that curious because I get it for sure. Like it may be a place you only go once in your life, especially if you're coming from the United States, Canada, Australia, and so on. But is there any chance that that might change and evolve? Because if people can fly to Europe, to France, and so on, and probably multiple times, England, whatever, why not go to Morocco? Even if it's well, there are direct flights. You can talk about that too, but maybe it's a little more connected and closer than people realize, and that means they could go more than once.
yes. The reason why I say it's a bucket list because there's a lot of things behind it. You
Mm,
know, I want to talk about destination weddings, for example, and you can see in the last 5 years, there's number one, number two, Greece, France. But I would say about 2 years ago or so, Morocco is the number one destination for weddings. And it's a
hmm,
surprise to a lot of people because a lot of people don't even know where Morocco is. But you have to understand it is number one for a reason. Morocco has ranked touristically, internationally, in the top five, top 10 destinations for a long time. So
hmm,
it's in terms of beauty, it is gorgeous. It's very diverse and it's worth a visit. The US, I think, and I know and I believe once the US catches up,
yeah.
it'll get the attention that it deserves. Now, keep also in mind the media, the way that it portrays Morocco in the US, especially
Hmm,
when it comes to movies, the things that they show, it's the exact opposite.
hmm,
When they show how people are, how women are, when you go to Morocco, you're going to be shocked.
yeah.
So, and I think probably within the next 5 to 10 years, we'll see that change. This is number one. Number two, internationally, especially when it comes to tourism, you know, the, the country as a country is doing incredible job promoting Morocco. Now they are just
Hmm,
starting with the US market. So you have to understand when you talk about Morocco, when you talk about Africa, you cannot ignore France. The influence of the country. We were a French colony at
yeah.
once, and they would like to keep it that way for a long time. We have had our independence since 1956, but
Hmm,
that's in the papers. But it looks very different. So what I'm saying is, France
hmm.
does not want to let go of that power of controlling Morocco. I'm not being political. I'm just these are just facts. You can find them anywhere.
Does that go beyond
That's
tourism then too?
yes. So
Yeah.
that's why Morocco is looking for other opportunities, not just in Europe. So when we talk about
Hmm,
North America, that's the new opportunity for Morocco. And we have an
hmm,
incredible relationship with America. We were the first country to recognize United States as an independent country. Um,
yeah.
244, 45 years ago. So this is the new market, is Morocco. And the tourism board has done an amazing job promoting Morocco. And they're starting with New York. Obviously, New
Oh yeah.
York, rightfully so. It's one of the biggest cities and stuff like that. So that trend is coming. Obviously, it's
Hmm,
going to take a minimum of 5 years. Then you look at Morocco in terms of the events that it's hosted. Marrakesh just hosted a film event. They do it an annual film event festival
hmm.
in Marrakesh. Then they have many other international events. So it's Morocco is getting the recognition it deserves, and now it's expanding beyond the borders of Europe to North America,
Yeah.
and it's just a matter of time.
And that's a change in language and culture too, because
Yes, yes,
there's
yes,
much more
and
emphasis on English then.
yes, and we talked about this long time ago because the U.S. has helped Morocco and donated 250 million uh, to schools so they can have
Yeah.
English for the kids, starting from the beginning, that they can learn English, versus for us in my generation, we had to wait until high school. So everything was in
Mm.
French, and it's changing. In Morocco, you can learn any English. I mean, any language you want. So there's high schools at that time. In my case, my generation, when you get to high school, you decide you want to go to. If you want to learn Italian, you go to a high school that teaches Italian. You want to go to a high school that teaches English, then you can do so. You want to go to a school that teaches Spanish, you'll do that. So we have
Mhm.
that flexibility. That's why we do speak quite a bit of languages.
Yeah, it's
Then you
true.
have the private sector where you can really learn any type of language you wish,
Hmm.
which is incredible.
And what about the connections? Like, what are the direct flights these days from the United States to Morocco?
Oh, that's a really good question. They Right now, there's a direct flight from Miami to Casablanca. And
Really?
in the past, you can do this route, but you gotta go through Iberia. You go, from Miami to Madrid, Madrid to Marrakesh or Casablanca. So now you have direct flight. Then you have direct flight from Washington D.C. to Morocco, which is about 6 7 hours. The same thing with New York, direct flight
Hmm.
from New York to Casablanca. Now they have a cheaper flight. I just got the information a few days ago from Canada to
Oh,
Casablanca.
really?
So
Okay.
which is incredible. Now they're working on other flights. Um, there's one in Chicago. They're gonna add a line Chicago to Casablanca. Then I believe 2027 they're gonna add Dallas to
Hmm.
to Casablanca. So it's the Royal Air Maroc is really expanding in the US. So you can see the
Hmm.
trend. You can see there's a collective work and collective effort from different organizations, from the
Yeah.
government or entities from the government. They're working towards that same goal, which is attracting the US market, the North America
Yeah.
market. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, this is it. This is a good time to go. It's going to get even
Oh,
busier.
for
So,
sure. Yes. And we would love to
yeah.
plan your tour. So
Yep. That's why you're here. Well, it's great. Yeah. It's, some questions that came to mind, as they often do over the last little while. And I figured this would make a good episode and
thank you.
chat about some things that people ask about or curious about,
Yes.
going to
Yeah.
Morocco.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Also, can I talk about something else, if possible, please?
Well, yeah, it's your show.
Thank you. We're gonna start doing group tours beginning of April, and you can see it on the website. If you go to destinationsmorocco.com, that's destinations with an S, morocco.com, you'll see it. We have now examples of private tours that you can pick from.
Mm.
Those are ready to go. They're good, really really good itineraries. And thank you for your help, by the way, on all those itineraries.
Yeah.
That really appreciate it. And then we have small group tours, and we have one for the north side. It's 8 days, and then we
Mm.
have one for the south side, south of Morocco, also for 8 days. Those tours, we're gonna start them in April, and when you click on them, you'll see the date will populate for you, and we have them all the way up to the end of 2024. So you can book really, really ahead of time. This is number
Mm.
one. Then the second thing that I want to talk about, and I am extremely excited to share this. We are working on a movie slash
Hmm.
documentary. We're going to be sharing the trailer maybe within this week. So you can see it and you'll see exactly the diversity of Morocco, the colors. We named it Kingdom
Mm.
of Colors. And you'll see
Mm.
that everything changes. It's magnificent. The movie will be 55 minutes long. And basically, this really it shows everything that we went through last summer.
Hmm.
And I can't wait to share that experience with everybody. It was a lot of fun. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
um,
neat. It's a
yeah,
bit of that personal. I mean, I haven't seen the movie. I've seen the trailer, but I know it's a bit of tracing your personal journey with you and the family back to Morocco after all those years away. So there's a bit of that story, but then of course people see the landscape, and you
yeah,
guys really covered a lot of ground. Like,
yeah,
I mean, really, is there anywhere you didn't go, from Tangier to Merzouga, Essaouira, everywhere in between? So you really
Yes.
cover
Yeah.
you see a lot of the country. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's the preview or the trailer is 2 minutes and 6 seconds long, but you can see. I mean, it really shows the complete Morocco. But the movie is going to be talking in details. Um, I'm so proud of the team. You know, everybody that went with us. Uh, Sam, Hasna, Karim, his
Yeah.
team. Um, the the creativity behind everything is just beyond amazing, and I cannot really
Hmm.
wait to share it with the audience. We're gonna have some drone videos, some drone
Hmm.
footage, some everything. It's just gonna be incredible. And then obviously it's gonna give us tons and tons of content in terms of podcast episodes, and we have
Yeah.
over 50 podcast episodes during that trip. It's just mind-boggling to think that we recorded 50 episodes, but it's just amazing.
And I think what's unique too about this movie is the fact that it's Moroccans yourselves who've made it. It's
Yeah,
not some, American company or for anywhere else who's come in to do this production. It's you guys telling your own story, and it looks beautiful. It's really well done,
thank you.
but it has that perspective, right? It's not. It's very much yourselves telling your own story, and I like that side of it.
Yes, we have a little bit of everything for everyone. And you can see, you may not connect with one city, for example, may not be your type, but you will definitely
Hmm.
find something in Morocco that you will connect with and you will love it. So,
Nice.
yeah.
That's cool. Up. We're
Yes. Yeah.
heading into the end of the year here, and when's our next live Q&A? Is December 13th. December 13th is
Yes.
Wednesday,
Yes. Yeah.
12 noon Eastern time.
Yes.
You can follow it on YouTube. So just pop in there, Destination Morocco channel, and you'll see us come up on YouTube, LinkedIn as well, Facebook.
Yes.
So yeah, that's coming up soon. All right. Well, thanks for having me here, and I'll be back at some point, I'm sure.
You're very welcome, Ted. It's always a pleasure having you. And again, thank you so much. Thank you to the listeners. And I hope you really like the content of this episode. Thank you so much for being a listener. Thank you. Bye
Cheers.
bye. You have traveled the world, but Morocco's allure beckons you. Destination Morocco is here to create the perfect once in a lifetime Moroccan journey, tailored exclusively to your desires. Let us craft an itinerary that unlocks the secrets of this mesmerizing land just for you. For a luxurious, bespoke Moroccan adventure of a lifetime, visit destinationsmorocco.com. That's destinations with an S, morocco.com. And let us turn your dreams into reality. Your amazing Moroccan experience awaits.